Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday. It's not Monday. I was having technical problems yesterday, so there was no show, but I am so excited that our author was able to come to a special Booklights on Tuesday. Today we have Jenna Greene, and she's actually a young adult author from Canada, and I can't wait for you to meet her. If you have never read Jenna yet, I will read her bio and get you introduced. So Jenna Greene is the author of the acclaimed young adult fantasy series Imagine. She is a middle school teacher, dragon boat coach, enthusiastic dancer, and semi-professional napper. I am so jealous. She lives in Lethbridge, Alberta, with her husband Scott, daughter Olivia, and dog Thor, Dog of Thunder, which I also love. You can find out more at her website. I did put a link to her website right there, so if you are listening on Blog Talk, you can click that link anytime and go check out her website and her books. So, are you there, Jenna? I think I heard you.
I am. Thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah, we were talking before the show how bizarre it is to live through history with the plague and how we're all hunkered down, and how you doing up there in Canada?
Living through history is hard. I didn't know what day it was either. I barely know what day it is, or what time of the day it is, and every once in a while my stomach says, "Hey, you should eat something."
Yeah, right? I heard
it's an
somebody
odd
the other day.
Experience.
Yeah, somebody the other day was calling it "It's Blur's Day" because we never know what day it is anymore.
Nice. That's a good way to think of it.
You have a right. They all just blur together. So you have a new book out though called Reborn, and can you tell our listeners why they should all go read it right now? What's it about?
Well, it's a YA dystopian, but not in the sense of what we're living through right now. It's more like an allegory towards slavery, where people in this society, if they have marks on their skin, it means they are a reborn, which means two things. One, they have lived previous lives, which sounds great if you believe it. Mm-hmm. But the second part is because they have these previous lives and they are privileged in that, then they are slaves in this society to once-born, people that have not had the privilege of leading multiple lives. So it centers around a girl named Lexel. She is 16, and the story opens with her at the auction being sold into slavery, and how her life changes from then on. At first, she's kind of sad but accepting of her fate, like this is how the world works. But she meets a very young girl who's about 4 or 5 years old named Sierra, and she becomes very protective of this girl. And so she has to change how she's going to act in this situation and what she's going to do in order to help this little girl from suffering.
Wow. Where did you get this idea? That's really, it's very interesting and unique sounding to me.
I got the idea from two things. A meme about gingers, because I have a very close friend named Nancy who is a redhead, and I saw those memes going around making fun of gingers, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad. She's always made fun of. Now, I do not have red hair, but I do have freckles, and so the connection kind of went between those two things, and that inspired this world. And then, of course, the character, inspired by a student she's in university now, but a student I taught, and how she didn't realize her own strength at the time. But as she grew and became a more powerful character, a more powerful person, that kind of inspired this growth of this character of Lexel in the story, of someone that doesn't see themselves as anything special at first, but circumstances force them to do things that maybe they hadn't thought they could do, and then she grows and she changes and she learns, and she becomes more than what she is, reborn in a sense into something new.
Nice. And do the reborns remember their past lives?
Well, that I can't give too much away because through a lot of the book, it's not sure whether it's real or not. Is this something real?
Okay.
And they are reborn, they have a connection to the past, or is it just a made-up excuse to put a bunch of people into slavery? So there are some characters that believe it, there are some characters that don't, and there's characters like Lexo who aren't quite sure what to believe. So
wow.
that is your answer to that
Okay. Is
question.
it going to right? Yeah, I'm intrigued. So is it going to be a series or just this one standalone?
It will be a series. The sequel is at my publisher right now, going through edits, which does take a bit of time. And because I have some extra time right now, I am able to already start on the third and final book in the series. So actually, there's a bit of a blessing in this horrific situation in that just a little bit extra time to get some writing done.
Right. Yeah, I'm living that too. But you know, I'm finding that during the pandemic, it's really hard to get creative and focused. I don't know about you, but it's difficult for me to like, okay, let's not look at the news. Let's focus on this book. But I do have my writer friends. We have learned how to use Zoom, and so we have little peer groups where we will hop on Zoom and go, okay, what are you doing for the next hour? And then we know that we're going to get back on, and that seems to help me focus because I don't want to be the one who gets back on and goes, well, I didn't do anything. So how are you?
I have good days and bad days.
Create during this. Yeah.
I'll have a good day or a bad day. So one day I will not get dressed. Well, I'll have PJs on. I'll won't do a whole lot, and then the next day I'll be up and I'll be cleaning and I'll be writing, and it just kind of balances out somehow in the middle where I'm just some days are good, some days are bad, but over the course of a week, it all looks okay.
Yeah, well, that's a good attitude. Yeah, I try not to be too hard on myself because we're living through history, but sometimes I'm like, really? What did I do today? So your Imagine series, that's YA also, right? Can you tell us about that one?
It is. It's what some people would consider high fantasy. It's got the magic. It's got elves and dwarves. It's unique in that we have two main characters, one being a preteen and one being a teenager with vastly different personalities. We have the younger, imaginative believer, idealist, and we have the fiery redhead teenager that's kind of a little bit grumpy and doesn't believe anything. And they are taken from Earth to this realm of Orin, and they're thrust into this magical world, and two vastly different reactions to it, two vastly different paths that they take, but because one is so much older than the other, there's that connection between them. There's the protectiveness of the older preteen or teenager to the preteen, and it kind of a mythic, epic journey that they go on. So there's the first book is called Imagine, the second is called Reality, the third is called Heritage, and the fourth is yet to be written, but I'm sure I will have time soon.
Oh, nice. So there's going to be another book in that series.
Yes, it was originally going to be 3, but apparently the characters weren't done. So they told me, they got together, they teamed up, we had a talk, and they decided it would be 4 books. And I asked them if there would be 5, and they said probably not. And I said, okay, good. I just needed to plan my schedule. So they were nice to, let me know and keep me posted.
So, did you always write fantasy? Are there any other genres that you're pondering in the back of your head? I
have a contemporary novel called Heroine, like a female hero, not the drug. And
okay.
It is a standalone, and it's just about a young girl, and it takes place in a high school, although there are fantastical elements to her imagination. But for the most part, it is realistic fiction. I have some picture books that are in the works. I don't draw, so I need someone else to do that for me. So I've written them, and hopefully we can find someone to illustrate them. I've dabbled in poetry and things, but I feel like the muse has said, hey, you're really good at YA fantasy. And I said, okay, I will listen to you.
Yeah.
But you never
Yeah,
know when, as I get older, things might change, and who knows what might inspire me tomorrow.
That's true. You never know. But you teach too, don't you? Do you teach middle grade or something like that? So you're really in touch with your audience.
I have taught middle school for 12 years, and just this year they jumped me down to grade 1-2. So after 12 years with grade 6, dealing with 11 and 12-year-olds, now I have 6 and 7-year-olds. And they're crazier and wilder than the middle schoolers. So other than their height and their reading level, I don't see a lot of differences. They're quite similar. They're wild, they're creative, they're funny.
Nice.
Smelly.
Well, right? Yeah, especially 6-year-olds. So I always ask people, what was your writing journey like? Everybody has a different path, but did you always want to be a writer? Did you find a writing group? How did you go about your publishing journey?
Oh, I always wanted to be a writer. When I was like 6 or 7, I wanted to be a writer and a fairy princess. When I was kind of in those upper elementary school grades, I wanted to be a teacher and a writer. I think in high school I wanted to be a zoologist and a writer. And because I write fantasy, I'm back to writer/fairy princess. So, it all circles around. And it all worked out.
So you are living the dream.
Yeah. I've checked out teacher, writer, fairy princess. So, the zoology thing didn't work out, but we got the rest of it going. So
but you do have Thor.
Oh, there you go.
That's so cool. And when you started writing seriously, did you find a writers group? Did you have critique partners? How did you, for the people out there listening who also want to be a fairy princess, how did you go about making that happen?
So when you ask about writing groups and critique book groups, did I have one? No. Should I have? Oh, yes. Yes. I had no idea what I was doing. But you got to remember, I started seriously writing when I was 17, which was when I was in university because I have a late birthday. So I was still a teenager. The internet was only like 2 years old. So there wasn't as much access to information. So I just, with pen and paper, or maybe my mom's old typewriter, just wrote a story. A couple years later, still in university, just typed it out, read it, went, this is crap, rewrote that same story from scratch. I did that 3 times. Let it sit for a while, learned about life, got older, got it published. Hey, it's the Imagine series. But, and I'm where I am, and that's great, but I sure had I been more knowledgeable at the beginning, things might have flown a bit more smoothly. Apparently agents and publishers they care about this thing called word counts, which I was like 100,000 words over, because I didn't know about any of that. So hindsight is 50-50. So people nowadays that have the internet and writing groups and critique groups and beta readers, whether it's online or offline, use them. It would have helped me a lot.
So the Imagine series, were they originally one book and you split them, or did you just edit like crazy?
Oh, we edited like crazy. And at first, it was really hard. My publisher/editor would be like, well, you've already said this. Why are you saying it again? I'm like, but that sentence is so pretty. And there'd be paragraphs of describing all sorts of things. She's like, nobody cares. I'm like, but it's so pretty. So she taught me just, instead of deleting, cut and paste, put it in a document, a separate document that says edits, save them, then they're not really gone. And, you can use them for promos and things. I never touched any of it, and now I'm a ruthless editor. Everything goes. But it took about 3 or 4 years for me to get that ruthless with my editing. And but so it does tell all your listeners, well, I guess they're listening now, that it gets easier.
Yes. It
edit,
definitely does.
It does. And your editor usually knows best.
Yes. They usually I don't know if you've ever noticed, but usually your editor knows what's missing or what's extra, but the suggestions they give you are almost always not the right thing. But they point that out, and you're like, gosh, why didn't I see that? And so an editor can be your best friend if you learn to work well together.
The only thing I've ever disagreed with them on is because I write series. Sometimes they'll be like, why do we need this? I'm like, trust me, it's going to be important to books from now. And they're like, oh, okay. But other than that, I usually agree with everything they say. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to hear it, but you're right.
So are you a plotter, or do you write by the seat of your pants?
Yep, to both.
Oh, you do both? Okay. You're a planter.
I'm a hybrid. I usually know the beginning of the book. I usually know the end of the book. I don't always know the middle. I kind of go chapter by chapter or scene by scene. I'll like daydream a scene and then write it down and then just go scene by scene. So I'm a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of column Z.
I can relate. I usually know the beginning and the end, and I have no idea how I'm going to get there. Occasionally, though, I keep thinking, you'll have one book that's easy to write, and then you have one that's hard. And I keep thinking when I have an easy book, I'm like, yay, I know how to do this. This is working. And I write another book, and I'm like, oh, my God, I don't know the ending. How can I write this if I don't know the ending? Oh, my God, what am I doing? And then it all comes together. So I'm learning to trust. But writing is hard.
Writing is very hard. It's enjoyable. It is worthwhile. It is cathartic, but it's hard.
Yeah. And right when you think you know your process, then you get a book that says, nah, I don't want to work that way. You're like, what?
No. Yeah. And characters never listen. I've got all these things planned out for them, and they're like, how about we go over here instead? I'm like, well, that's special. Now I have to rethink this. They never behave, those pesky characters.
I know, and if you try to shove them the wrong way, then they just pout, and you can't write anything else. So, because we're all trapped inside, I have been asking all of my guests to tell us what we should be watching. Are you binge watching TV shows or movies, or what do you all watch up there in Canada? What are we missing out on?
Oh, well, I have a list. I have a 4-year-old, so we watch Paw Patrol, we watch PJ Masks, we watch Sesame Street, and then some Peppa Pig. So, just some things to try. We got a lot of seasons.
A lot of seasons of the pig?
Oh, yeah, and Paw Patrol. Yeah, and there's some spin-offs. So, if you finish Paw Patrol, then there's a few spin-offs you can try. So, a few movies, a few, So, you got a wide variety there with the Paw Patrol.
Nice. Well, we got Disney Plus, and so I finally got to see Moana, and it was so fantastic. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long to see this movie? And Finding Dory, and so anyway, I'm catching up on kid things, even though my kids are all grown up.
I love Moana. Whenever my daughter wants to watch Frozen 2 again, I'm like, how about Moana? And then we compromise and watch Tangled. So.
Oh, that's cute, too. Tangled is good, too. I love Frozen 2. We watched that again, too. But it is a sobber, though. If anyone listening out there, if you haven't seen Frozen 2, have Kleenex. Oh, my God. But
yeah. Watch
Moana
Frozen 2, cry, and then watch Frozen 1 to cheer you up.
Yes, there you go. Watch them backwards. So you said we could talk about anything, and I had been poking around your website, and I saw, besides the poetry and all, that you also have written an article about anxiety issues, and I thought that was really fantastic because I have had those kind of issues before too, and I don't think that enough people realize how common it is, and that it's totally, you can, there's tools, you don't have to be miserable. How are you doing with all that, and how do you get those kind of things? Do they filter into your writing? Do you have characters that deal with those kind of issues?
I think it definitely filters into my writing. Not any way I can ever predict or control. There's a character in my contemporary novel heroine that has a panic attack. I think for my Reborn and Imagine series, I don't think there's any major moments of anxiety or panic, but at least not in that disorder. But I always put characters in danger, so I can always describe fear really well. As for my, and I never hide that I have an anxiety disorder. I've had it for about 12, 13 years now. I do presentations on it at, teachers' conventions and talk about anxiety, and people are always saying, "Oh, you're so brave." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "You're up here in front of all of us talking about it." I'm like, I'm not shy. I am a dancer. I am a performer. I am a teacher. Give me a mic and I will MC any ceremony you got. Anxiety does not mean shy. Those are not a correlation, not a mandatory one anyway. Other things make me anxious. Skipping meals, IVs. I'm okay with needles, but not IVs. Things can go in but not out, apparently. There's a lot of misconceptions about what anxiety is and different triggers, and if you want to kind of tie a personality type to it, it's not that shy or reserved person, it's that creative person that can imagine all sorts of horrible things happening. But just there's a lot
of your brain turns into an enemy. But in some ways it's my superpower as well, and that I'm perceptive about people, students in particular, and their needs and how they react to certain situations. So there's some pluses that go along with it. And, ironically, this pandemic has not triggered any anxiety in me. So it just shows how unpredictable a mental illness can have. But if it did, I would use my strategies and we would work through it. And, there's lots of people with a mental illness that have fully functional, capable lives, that every once in a while they struggle. And that's what it is. Right. Yeah. And I think having tools is amazing. So if anybody's out there who struggles, talk to your doctor, talk to somebody, because there are tools that help. And during the pandemic, my anxiety has not been friendly. So having tools really helps, so that you're not constantly going, "Oh God, I've got it, I'm dying. What am I going to do? I can't go to the hospital." So anyway, if you start spiraling, and I think there are things you can do. So don't suffer. I think there's a lot of therapists that are doing online stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I love therapy. Yeah, my therapist is online. Other than a job interview, other than a talk with your mother or a job interview, there's no other place you can go and talk about yourself the entire time and not be seen as selfish. Truth. Yes. Great. So true. It is great. And nobody is gonna nobody has a horse in the race, so they're not gonna be telling you what you should do. You can just talk. It's a wonderful thing. Yeah. I go for refresher courses every couple of years. Yes. And that's good. That's good. And so we were talking before about what's next for you. You're already working on the third book of the Reborn series, right? Yeah. So the second one, again, is hopefully going to be released next year, and then the third one shortly after that, as the right things are going. And then being an author, there's always a lot of projects in the works. I don't know if they'll have two next year, but they'll probably be, kind of 1 year and then the year after. But give you some time to read the first one. That's right. This is the perfect time to jump in and read that first one. So, as a writer, there's always things in the works. Right. So who was the first author that gave you a burst of encouragement? Like who did you read, and did you reach out to any authors and get some kind of encouragement from them, or your first writers conference or anything like that?
I would say Stuart McLean. He's passed away, but he's big in Canada. I don't know if anyone knows him in the States, but he's huge in Canada, the Vinyl Cafe. And I met him, and he said, put yourself in a position where you have to write, because otherwise you'll avoid it. And everyone had always said, like, oh, writing's amazing, it's perfect. I'm like, oh, no, it is hard work, and sometimes I don't want to. But if you set deadlines, or you set schedules, and so, I mean, big writers have their own, their publishers set their deadlines. If you're an indie author or a self-published author or a small press author, if you don't produce anything, no one's pushing you for it. So you have to kind of push yourself and be a little bit flexible, because you don't want to say, I have to write this much, and then it all turns out to be crap. But you do have to, like, either set a special time or a place and say, I will write and I will get something on paper, and make yourself do it. And then it's like exercise. Once you do it, you feel great.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just you have to find that intrinsic motivation.
Mhm. I agree. And I went to World Fantasy Con one year, and Neil Gaiman was there, and they had a conversation with Neil Gaiman. But he said something that like clicked for me, and always has. And he said that his best advice to a writer is that in all his experience, when he goes back to edit, he can't tell the words that came easy and the words that he bled onto the page. And he said, so what I have taken from that is that even if today's writing was super hard, make yourself do it, because when you go back to edit, you won't be able to tell that those were hard. And that really stuck with me, and I thought, you know what, it's just in my head that this is horrible and, I'm wasting my time. I still have to do it because it's really not horrible, and that is so true. I go back the next day to edit what I did the day before, and I'm like, this isn't bad. Why did I think this was awful? And I think our brains play games with us because it doesn't want to exercise. It wants to watch TV.
It's easier to doubt yourself than to believe in yourself. But you have to believe in yourself first, then agents and publishers and fans come after. So it starts with you.
That is true. That's so true. And that's the hardest part, is for you to believe. And writing is so scary to put out there because it's a big, it's a big part of you. People are going to read it and judge it. And, so it's tough.
And a lot of time and effort and blood and sweat and tears, but just know that you're always getting better. I know that there are short stories that I've written that are pure crap that are never going to go anywhere, but it made the next story better and the next one and the next one. And then eventually you get something golden, right? So you're always, not everything you write has to be published. Sometimes it's just
because
for
you're
fun.
learning.
Sometimes it's for skill. Yeah. I learned that I am not a good
Or you
poet.
might write a character and you might, write a character and go, that character is good. Story's awful, but I'm going to put that character in something. So we are rapidly running out of time. But before we go, can you tell readers how they can get in touch with you? Are you on social media? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you have a newsletter?
Yes, and yes. So Jenna Greene, Green with an E on the end. So jennagreene.ca, good old Canada, is the website. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all J Greene or J Greene Writes, because that's what I do. But just remember the E on the end, and you can find me anywhere on Amazon and all those regular places.
Thanks so much for being here. It was wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. I had fun.
Yeah, see you later.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.
The Hollywood Reporter is your ultimate source for awards race news this fall. Go to THR.com to keep up with this award season's expert predictions from executive editor Scott Feinberg, and tune into the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast for exclusive interviews with the biggest names in showbiz. Stay in the loop with daily newsletters providing real-time updates on all the awards action. Subscribe to THR.com for full access to the Hollywood Reporter and never miss a moment of this fall awards season. Visit THR.com today.
Hey there, it is Ryan Seacrest with you. Do you want to make this summer unforgettable? Join me at Chumba Casino. It's this summer's hottest online destination. They are rolling out the red carpet with an amazing welcome offer just for you. So don't wait. Dive in now and play hundreds of social casino games for free. Your chance to redeem real prizes is just a spin away. Care to join me?
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.